Hello guys, welcome back to my channel and another review of the current campaign ship Jaeger Tier 7. I was debating with myself if I should buy out the campaign. I bought two-thirds of the campaign. I played the first week. So I got the Jaeger to get a review for you going, but my review verdict is very short. It's a Tier 4 Kamikaze, a little bit upped in Tier 7, where it shouldn't belong. Basically, it's a Tier 5 destroyer with torpedoes and nothing else. And the torpedoes also do not work great. And I will talk you through everything. I played 8 games in this ship. You can see my win rate here at 38%. Probably some of you will say, oh, this is a skill issue. And I will talk you through why this is not a skill issue. This is an RNG issue in which situations you are being dropped with this ship. Because this one-trick pony is exactly performing in one situation. When you face battleships without radar, cruisers without radar, and torpedo destroyers. If you face torpedo gunboats, if you face sonar radar, if you face carriers, you are screwed in this ship. So basically there's maybe 30 to 40% of the games where you can perform and the other games you cannot. The biggest drawback of this ship is it doesn't have carry potential. So meaning if you team potatoes, you only deal damage over time. It's like you're in an HE spammer cruiser. You cannot carry your team if your team doesn't survive. And in this ship, you need the team to survive like 14, 15 minutes so you can trigger the floods. This ship depends on triggering floods. It cannot do anything else. You can do a suicide run on an Albing, for example, but then you just trade and you're gone. So there's not much use in this ship. If you go into caps and you want to capture caps, you have to face a lot of radar. You have, because you're in Tier 7 and Tier 8, you have to face a lot of sonar. You have strong HP ships, so your guns are pretty much useless. Your torpedoes are useless unless you hit like 4, 5, 6 on a destroyer, and you probably need to hit 15, 20 on a battleship if you want to ambush the battleship. I managed to pull quite some ambushes around the corner with this ship, and they do work, but it takes too long time to kill enemy ships. With any other Tier 7 destroyer, with 2-3 torpedoes, you kill an enemy ship. And you can really turn the tide with this ship, with another Tier 7 destroyer. But the Jaeger is like an HE cruiser. You need the damage over time with the floods. And speaking about floods, the flood chance is about 50% of what you are used to in a torpedo boat with 20 or 24k damage. These torpedoes only do 7 to 8k raw damage, so that means after flood protection you do like 4k per torpedo. Given you have 60 to 90k damage in battleships, you can calculate yourself how many times you have to hit for 4ks. So you depend on the flood damage, or you depend on killing low HP ships with these torpedoes. Let's run down the configuration quickly. So I'm of course using Steak, which is the only useful captain. You could also use the generic captain, you get a 3rd reload booster, but then again your torpedo damage will be much less than in this configuration, and it has some other drawbacks, so it doesn't really work out. So Steak is probably the only option you should be running this one with. And you also would need sims. I tried full concealment build. You get 5.1 instead of 5.3 or 4 concealment, but the difference isn't too much, and anyway you're not much outspotting other ships, because 5.1 the ships you're meeting They have even 4.9, 5.0, so like Loyang and all the other ships. So they outspot you, even though you are the torpedo boat, and there's nothing you can do about that. So artillery, you have 3 guns and quite somewhat okay guns, but you have only the 3 barrels, and that's why your DPS is pretty low. But you will see in my game that the guns are quite okay if you want to finish off another ship. Torpedoes are fast reloading with 55 or even 53 seconds depending on your setup, and if you do some damage you get another up to 10% with the epic mod. But the damage is very low. They are fast, they have good range, they have a good cone, so you can almost position them like single torpedoes in one point. So this is the good thing, but the bad thing is you don't have any AA. The ship is very fast, given that you have the standard speed, and if you add 8%, you can bring the ship up to 47, 48 knots. So this is quite okay. So if you have a speed boost, I was using a few euro on this one with 45 knots, and this also works quite good. And then you can change positions, so like a little Fantask. But base speed is 43, and then again you have 5.4, 5.3 detectability, and anti-air detectability is 2 point something. So this is the best anti-air detectability. So if a carrier wants to spot you, he needs to be very close. But once he spots you, you're screwed, because with your low HP and you have no exit, you don't have any speed to run off. You don't have any AA. So basically you're screwed. In all of my carrier games, if the carrier is not an absolute potato going for battleships, if he's going to search you, you can immediately quit the game in that ship, because there's nothing you can do against the carrier. So you can drop some torps, you can do a suicide run into an enemy ship, and then the carrier game is over for you in this ship. So my verdict on the Jaeger is the Jaegers will not be able to contest caps, and if a team has Jaegers in their team, they will lose the game most likely, because it's very easy to get caps against the Jaeger. They have to be played long range unless you are very skilled, and most of the players, they are average players, so they will be playing the ship long range. That means you have a free cap against the Jaeger, and that means points are ticking against the team with the Jaeger, and also the Jaeger cannot pull off quickly enough damage to carry the team. So the Jaeger really is a drawback to their team if being played for a team. And imagine you have 2 of them, that team is screwed from the start. So I will not be playing the Jaeger. It's very high skill ceiling due to the many drawbacks. So again, no AA, low HP, low hitting torpedoes, cannot carry and ambush ships unless you unleash 20 torpedoes into a single ship. So really very little window of opportunity. You need to be lucky that you have a lot of potatoes sailing in a straight line. Then you can unleash your long-range torpedoes, because if you get close range and they fire off a radar, you're screwed. So you will be operating the ship on 10 to 12 kilometer range, and at that range you depend on your team to survive. And even outspotting isn't working too great with 5.3, like I earlier said. There's a lot of destroyers like the IGNs or the Pan Asians who run 5.0, 5.1, 5.2. You can even run the American gunboats with 5.4. So as soon as you spot them, they spot you the same minute and they will just screw you over. So imagine this ship being a kamikaze in Tier 4. In my opinion, I don't understand why Wargaming put such a bad destroyer into Tier 7. This is a Tier 5 destroyer. And if you take away the reload, which is the one trick it does have, the reload booster, then the stats are perfectly fine for Tier 5. And I would understand to put this in Tier 7 if you had a 30 seconds reload and the 2 reload boosters, and then this thing would pull off some stuff here. But with 55 seconds reload, There's really not much you can do if you don't hit early on to accumulate some damage. So the epic reload booster kicks in and so on, so that you can buff the stats even further. I think you need so much luck in this ship that the players are playing bad, the red team. There's nothing you can do. You cannot go to a cruiser and shoot with your AP guns, his broadside. There's only torpedo spamming, and you can use the guns to finish off a destroyer or a very low HP ship. You will see that in this game. But you see also in this game, this will be a loss despite my performance, because you cannot go into the caps. You have to stay away. You have to come from the back, from the side, from the angle. You have to stay away from radars. You will see a Baltimore in this game, so I have to stay away from his radar, because if he spots me with his radar, I'm screwed. And so on and so forth. So this is really a ship you have to stretch for the ceiling skill-wise, and even then you hardly win a game or perform in a game. Yes, 1 in 20 games you will have the 150, 200 game HP games, and you will see some people bragging with, oh, I did so and so much damage, but I will be surprised if they pull that off in the average game. And my reviews are about the average game, and in the average game this ship is heavily underperforming. It can be satisfying to hit 30 torpedoes in a game, but to be honest, I would rather prefer the Oostergotland, the sister ship, and non-premium. So the only benefit here is this is a premium. You get the 1.5 times credit booster and XP booster. But the Oostergotland is so much better. It does have 2 times 4 torpedoes, similar reload, but no reload booster. That's the only thing. But 2K per torpedo more damage, so they do 8,500, 9,000, or it's that 1K more damage in the Oostergotland. But you have almost, let's say, double as good guns. And you have the second, or even the second best tier 7 anti-air after the Friesland, which this ship doesn't have. So why would you play the Jaeger over the Oostergotland? You must be crazy just for the 2 reloads, but suffering AA, suffering guns. The concealment is the same like in the Oostergotland, more or less. So it doesn't make sense to play the Jaeger. You are a liability to your team if you play the Jaeger. It's the worst DD, let's say in tier 6 and tier 7 and tier 8 and legendary, whatever you want to take the ship in. So there's so many ifs and whens, so I really cannot suggest that you get the ship. Don't waste your money. Get the campaign for all the free stuff, which you get for the 2,500. But I will tell you, the ship will roast in your garage. It needs such a heavy buff. I don't know what either they put it in tier 5. Or they really have to buff the reload booster of the torpedoes. They have to give it somewhat AA, or they have to buff the concealment to 4.6, 4.7, something like that. I don't know, but they really screwed up with the stats here, and I don't know who tested this ship. They should have found out that this is not a constantly performing ship. This is a lottery ship. When you get in the game and you hope that you don't have a CV, you don't have radar, you have a lot of potatoes in the enemy team, then you can pull off some stuff. And this is once every 5 games or 6 games, and then you get a somewhat decent game. But other than that, forget about that. If I hop in my Fantask, in my Sommers, in my Fletcher, in my Kakira, even my Yudachi, which is a torpedo boat without anti-air, due to the much better concealment, the better guns, it's much better performing. Even these days, still the Yudachi isn't good anymore, but this is basically a Yudachi with half torpedo damage, or let's say a quarter torpedo damage, but double the amount. And I would rather take the Yudachi if I want to spam torpedoes with a torpedo reload booster than this one. But here with the Leningrad, it's a good example. The guns do work if you have a high skill. You know how to aim, you know how to dodge, to turn the ship, and you see I'm using the speed with 45, 44 knots. I'm using my torps to distract and unleashing more torps, but basically I'm waiting for my team to get some shots out, to get some things done, and it will cost me almost all my low HP, and I'm avoiding the Baltimore at the same time, and now that he's in smoke, I'm going to chase him down. I want to get the kill, and we are almost on same amount of HP. That's why I have to. Otherwise, you see the points and the caps. That's what I was saying before. If you have to carry, this ship will not enable you to carry. So now in this game I play very high risk, and even if you play very high risk, you only get a somewhat decent game. So the risk versus reward in this ship is not really there. If I would have been in my Fantask, I would have taken the caps, I would have fought around the caps, but in this ship you have to stay in the background, because if you're inside the cap, you will be targeted by 3-4 ships and you cannot survive that. So that's really the bad part here. And again, you have to take the high risk. I'm chasing the Leningrad here. Later on, I'm trying my best on the Baltimore, but the battleships here is not performing. They're not going to B cap. They're going to C, and that's why in the end we're losing by points. And this is something you cannot do anything about in this ship. Yeah, again, still satisfying if you hit some torpedoes, but to be honest, in an Oostergotland and in a Sommers, it's much more satisfying to hit the torpedoes. In a Kagero and in a Udachi, those are the far better ships. So again, I don't know who tested that ship and why Wargaming put this in tier 7 instead of tier 5. And why this is really a meme ship here, and I don't know what they did. So save your money, get the campaign for the extras, but forget about this ship. Here you can see the guns are pretty precise, so you hit on the point like the IGN guns, but unlike the IGN guns, you cannot really win a gunfight. You can finish off other ships, but in an extended gunfight, you're screwed because of the low HP. In this configuration of full concealment build with 5.3 concealment, I have only 14k HP. If I use Sims, I have 18k, but still 18k isn't sufficient. It's a joke. So yeah, that's my pretty clear verdict on this ship. Fun to play it a few times, but really not fun because it generates more frustration. If you run into a carrier, if you run into radar, there's nothing you can do. You cannot contest. If you have a heavy cruiser game with lots of cruisers dodging, like 6 cruisers, you can only do area denial torpedoes and hope for a few hits. And again, you depend on RNG. So performance in this ship is so much RNG dependent. What game you will be thrown in, what do the enemy players do. I prefer destroyers where I can, let's say, influence a battle with my skill and not with RNG. So this is an RNG boat, this is a meme boat. Enjoy to play it if you have it, but I definitely can absolutely zero recommend this ship. So get the campaign for the extra stuff, but other than that, don't be frustrated about this ship, and don't let your team down by playing this ship. Because better hop in another destroyer, contest cap, have an impact on the game to win games. This ship is gonna ruin your stats, definitely. You will have less wins, you have more losses. You really will be a liability to your team. Having said that, thanks for watching my review. And I hope you enjoyed the review. Leave your comments. Let me know what I did wrong, how I can perform better in this ship, and why you think this is a very good ship, and why Wargaming did everything right, and why I potato in everything I do. So leave your comments. Hit your thumbs up if you like the review. And yes, thank you out there, and enjoy the rest of the video. Thank you, and bye-bye.